I don't know why I won't say that.
Welcome to the 2021 Art of the African Diaspora first ever virtual artist reception. It's actually our opening artist reception. Can we, whoever's not muted, could you please mute yourself? Thank you. I'm Pat Patterson, and I'll be your moderator today. Hope everybody's doing great. We're very pleased and proud to present this different version, a virtual version of our regular art reception that we have usually at the Richmond Art Center. And earlier today, I was thinking about things and I said, boy, about this time, I'd be trying to figure out what I'm gonna wear, who I'm gonna call to maybe ride over with. And then the big thing is when the doors open there, the kaleidoscope of color the diversity of the art. There's just so much, the community of folks. And I think we're like shoulder to shoulder at the actual Richmond Art Center. So today we're going to do a little different. It's our first ever virtual art reception. So before we get so if any, whoever's, if you could all mute yourselves, except for me, I get to talk. Thank you. So before we get started, I invite you to get cozy. Hope you have your little beverage. The cool thing about a virtual, as you know, a virtual meeting or a Zoom is that you can be as comfortable as you want to be. You don't have to worry about putting on those perfect shoes and doing all that stuff. So anyway, I hope you really enjoy this. We hope you really enjoy this event, this experience. A few housekeeping rules. Number one, please mute your mics. And towards along the way, there will be several opportunities for questions and answers. And so I invite you to, if you have a question, put it in the chat box and also include your email address, just in case we can't get to your question. We'll for sure send it to you via email. And then the other thing I strongly urge you to do is take pictures of the screen. So if you see something you like, do a screenshot, or actually just grab your smartphone and take a photo of it. I do that all the time, and that way you'll have it. Now we'll have some important resource information and a couple of things that we'll take the time to let you take a photo of towards the end of the show. So you'll have a chance to get some valuable information, and it's focused around finding out how to get in touch with us and those kinds of things. So we're ready to roll. I want to also acknowledge Fong Chung of Rhythmics, who's my partner in crime here. So he's going to help on the techie side, get us rolling, get us through the show. And by the way, it's a combination of slides, excellent videos, we found some vintage stuff. So it's going to be a combination of those things. Plus you already saw some of the new 2021 art that we'll show at the front end and also at the back end. So it promises to be, I think, a really, really good experience. And I hope you all enjoy it. And I want to say a special welcome to the 130 plus artists that are amongst us, and also visitors and supporters who are coming. They're here in the Bay Area, but they're also, I want to do a shout out to the folks all over the country. Art of the African Diaspora, excuse me. This Black Artists exhibition is the longest running event of its kind in the Bay Area. In 2021, Art of the African Diaspora brings together over 130 artists of African descent. Their work is showcased in a hybrid virtual/in-person event presented online and at venues throughout the Bay Area. Next slide. I want to share the 2021 program with you. It's got several facets to it, and each one of them is exciting and just great work to view and to purchase. First of all, our online exhibition started February 11th and it runs through May 16th. The satellite exhibitions and artist happenings are where you visit the Richmond Art Center's website and explore listings for the satellite exhibitions and artist organized happenings. And that's where the real chunk of information lies. And the website is richmondartcenter.org. And then lastly, we have guest speaker events. And next Saturday, March 27th, there's a really, really intriguing one called Art in the Time of Pandemic. And that's where a panel of artists will discuss how the pandemic has affected their work and lives. That's Saturday, March 27th, 3 p.m. to 4:30 Pacific time. And then last, Murals, a Vision of Social Justice. That's Saturday, September 17th, 3 to 4:30 Pacific time. And it's a conversation with artists who have created murals in the Bay Area during the uprising for Black lives. And we certainly have a lot of examples of those around the area. So what is the Art of the African Diaspora about? It's about honoring the past. This event was founded in 1997 as the Art of Living Black by Jan Hart Shires and Louise Hayward, after their realization that Black artists were not being represented by the galleries in any significant way. Hart Shires and Hayward developed the exhibition to present the work of emerging and established artists, African-American artists, to introduce them to new audiences and to build a creative community of artists and art lovers. Tragically, Hart Shires passed away in 1998 and Hayward died in 2008. So this organization is also about celebrating the present. In 2020, we invited an esteemed Bay Area arts professional to select 3 artists to receive the annual Artistic Achievement Award. They are Tiffany Conway, Val Kaye, and Fan Lee Warren. These artists will have their work featured in this 2021 opening reception, as well as in the 2022 Art of the African Diaspora exhibition at the Richmond Art Center. And if you can just take a look on the, Fong, if you could go back one slide, if you take a look on the right, those are samples of each of their artworks. Top left is Tiffany's, top right is Fan Lee's, and the bottom is Val Kaye's. The organization is also about planning for the future. Last year, the steering committee of artists that now produces the event announced its new name, Art of the African Diaspora. The steering committee remains dedicated to the vision of Hart Shires and Hayward, but felt the time had come for the event to have a name that will allow it the autonomy to grow and to reflect a new era. And we have big plans for 2022, so get your party outfits ready as the Art of the African Diaspora celebrates its 25th anniversary. So who's behind this? Who are the wheels that make this whole thing turn? I want to introduce the various committees that are making this all happen, are responsible for us today to have this great organization today. They are, the steering committee is comprised of Stephen Bruce, Jimmy Evans, Virginia Jordan, Tomei Neil Madison, Marva Reed, Justice Renaissance, Orlando Ufre, and the Arthur Wright. The advisory committee is comprised of Renata Gray and Raymond L. Haywood. And finally, the auxiliary committee is comprised of Derek Bell, Diamela Coutinho, Irene B. Kane, Paula Lewis, Mianta McKnight, Kume Raouf, Ashley Rain, Akili Simba, and Anthony Smalls. I'll give them a big hand. We also want to thank recognize and acknowledge and thank our generous sponsors. They are Elizabeth Kalas and George Tomberlin. And a big thank you to our longtime event partners. I'm going to read them all, so bear with me. African American Art and Culture Complex, Arts and Culture Commission of Contra Costa County, Creative Framing Oakland, Ethnic Notions, Jingletown Art Studios, Joyce Gordon Gallery, Laney College, Mills College, Oak Stop, RBA Creative, Rhythmics Cultural Works, Richmond Art Center, San Francisco African American Historical and Cultural Society, San Pablo Gallery, Warehouse 416, Women's Cancer Resource Center, and our new partners, Macy's, Union Square, San Francisco. Thank you. So now we're going to talk a little bit about our founders. the people that that got the ball really rolling back in the late 90s. Jan Hart Shires wore many hats. She was known for her sculptures. She was the coordinator of adult classes at Oakland's Studio One Art Center, where she taught stained glass and other media. She was the former president of Pro Arts and the co-chair of East Bay Open Studios, and also a member of a number of committees such as the Emeryville Arts Celebration. In 1997, Hartshires collaborated with Louise Hayward and brainstormed the brilliant idea of initiating open studio events geared towards artists of African descent. The two were able to recruit 35 artists for their first exhibition at the Community Gallery at the Richmond Art Center. I was part of that. Many of us were. Well, 35 of us were. Hartshire's creative mind and innovative spirit were a force that kept on giving. Today, Art of the African Diaspora recognizes and celebrates Jan Hartshires through the annual Artistic Achievement Award. Now on to Louise Hayward. She was born in New Orleans and raised in Los Angeles. She was inspired by her supportive parents, where she earned an art degree, at Cal State Northridge. She moved to the Bay Area, actively creating art in 1990, and she sold her first painting in 1991. Her colorful art celebrates the beauty of the African culture, its people, its sculpture, textiles, jewelry, and music. It also incorporates a number of African motifs using acrylics, oil pastels, collage, ink, and color pencils. Her work was recognized by KQED TV in 2003 with a Local Heroes Award in honor of Black History Month. Ray also served on the board for Richmond Art Center and the Women's Caucus of Art. And if you could hold on, on that slide, the photo in the lower right is one that I took, and it was way, way back. I mean, it might have been 90, well, the early years. And I'll never forget, that was at the Richmond Auditorium, where we each had a 10 by 10 booth. And she was totally immersed. She had her work up. She was just so, almost like she was sitting there just enjoying it as if, you know, her child was born kind of thing. But I just will never forget that special picture and how satisfied she looked. So go ahead, you can go ahead, Paul. Ray's true gifts were her spirit of generosity, the encouragement and mentoring she gave to new and seasoned artists. She co-founded The Art of Living Black in '97, as I mentioned earlier, with Jan Hartshires. After Jan died in 1998, Ray carried on as the guiding light of the exhibition, rich with compelling, diverse artwork, a well-attended reception, as well as self-guided studio tours and satellite exhibits. Unfortunately, Ray passed away in January of 2008 due to illness just prior to the exhibition. She was an endearing coach and leader, and she actually participated until her final days. We'll never forget that. She moved many artists from off the fence to full exhibit mode, and I personally know what that's about, and probably others do. And in one artist's words, Ray changed my life as an artist. Her support of my very first show made me feel like my work was important and valuable. She welcomed me into her creative community like a true sister, and under her leadership, this organization has felt like family to me. And I think a lot of us could repeat that same quote. Okay. So now we're going to segue into another section, and this is going to be a video of several artists and visitors expressing themselves, talking their perspectives about being part of the art exhibit. Take it away, Paula.
Hello, My name is Calvin Curry. I'm a visual artist here in Oakland, California. And I met the co-founders, Ray and Jan, in the early 90s. I met Ray at a group art show in Los Angeles at the Baldwin Hills Mall back in the early 90s, which was called the Artist Salute to Black History Month. That's where Ray conceived the concept for the Art of Living Black, which is now the Art of the African Diaspora. And the show in LA was one of the biggest group shows this side of the Mississippi. And we got a chance to show our work among some of the greats, Ernie Barnes, Burnett Honeywood, Brenda Joyce Smith, even Jacob Lawrence was one of the participants in this art show. Also another artist by the name of Nathaniel Bustian, who studied under Charles White, which came out of the Harlem Renaissance. And so Ray thought of an idea of having a group of Bay Area artists show, not only open up our studios to patrons in the Bay Area, but also giving us artists an opportunity to showcase our work in corporate environments. So I'd like to thank Louise Hayward, I thank Jan, and the Richmond Art Center, the committee, and also Stephen Bruce, my brother Stephen Bruce, for the work he's done with the Richmond Art Center, for also giving us a place to showcase our work in corporate environments, to open up our studios, and to give us a legacy. Thank you.
I didn't delete it, I just started again. So.
Okay. My name is Lorraine Bonner, and I've been part of this annual exhibit, now known as the Art of the African Diaspora, for over 20 years. It's been a really wonderful experience for me. This piece here, my piece, Studying the Perpetrator, was one of my earlier pieces, and it won the Jan Hart-Shire Award back in 2003. My experience with this exhibition has brought me quite a bit of benefit, including more exposure to exhibits, other places, venues and galleries where I can show my work, other people getting to know my work, getting my work out into the world, and as well as just developing friendships and kind of a family feeling about the people who are also exhibitors and friends of the African diaspora. And I'm really grateful to Louise Hayward and Jan Hart-Shire, who were the founders of this really amazing exhibition, and really grateful to the other artists who are part of it.
And that's 90 seconds.
Okay, good.
So yeah, do you want to do it again?
No, I think that's good.
Oh, hey. Well, look, while we're here, I just wanted to pop on to say how much I am endeared to this show that started out being The Art of Living Black, founded by Louise Hayward. And when I started over 20 years ago, I was a new fledgling artist. This show welcomed me, respected me, and throughout over the 20 plus years I've been with this show, it has allowed me to grow and expand my art career as well as my imagination. And it's priceless because it's unjuried. I look forward to future years with this show and welcoming new artists so that they can then expand and share our beautiful selves with the world. KarensArt.com loves you and loves this show for being here and remaining.
Hello, my name is Virginia Jordan, also known as Nia, and I have been a part of this artist community, now known as the Art of the African Diaspora, since 2006. For me, it's been a sense of community, a sense of inspiration, and the opportunity to network with other artists as well as customers. As a result of being involved in this artist community, I have sold work. I have had other opportunities that came up, such as I did a workshop with Google, and that was recommended to me by one of the artists in the group. I am now teaching middle school and high school, and that was also recommended to me by one of the artists in the group. So it is a very good opportunity to network and meet other people that will open up doors for other opportunities. And it's just been wonderful, and I'm just honored to be a part of this artist community, the art of the African diaspora. And thank you for being here with us.
Hi, my name is Zoe Boston, and I'm a singer, songwriter, painter, muralist, artist, creative, and I've been exhibiting in the Art of African Diaspora for about 6 years now. This annual exhibit means so much to me. It definitely was a significant contributor to my art career. It definitely helped catapult my art career, and I've gained a lot of experience and know-how from exhibiting in these shows and working and creating with all the artists involved in the exhibit. It's definitely been an eye-opening experience and something I will forever be grateful for to have been a part of and continue to be a part of. I'm also thankful that we've continued to exhibit through the pandemic, even though it looks a little different this year. I'm very thankful that we still get to show our work and let our voices be heard and express ourselves and connect with the community. And so I'm thankful to be a part.
One of the reasons I like the annual Art of the African Diaspora exhibition at the Richmond Art Center is that it allows me to exhibit my work annually. It also allows me to exhibit with a large group of artists, some new and some established. This gives me the opportunity to get feedback from those artists and to meet new people who come to see these artists that I normally don't exhibit with, which allows me to have a new audience also. Another thing I like about the exhibit is that it allows me to exhibit new works that I probably wouldn't exhibit because during galleries, the shows are curated and the curator gets to choose the work that they want to exhibit. This way I can exhibit work that I want to, and it's new and experimental work that I haven't shown before. So that's always good because I get to get feedback from the artists and the attendees at the event. The other thing I like about it is the large group of people that come to the reception at the Richmond Art Center, which gives them an opportunity to see my work, which they probably wouldn't have otherwise an opportunity to see, which is beneficial to me and to them as viewers.
Hey folks, Justice Renaissance here, wood sculptor from Campbell, California, by way of Phoenix, Arizona. I stumbled into the art of living black back in 2004 and was completely blindsided and overwhelmed and in love with what I experienced, starting with Louise Hayward and her energy and spirit and positivity and love for black art. And also, I instantly felt a sense of camaraderie with the art community. I had people tell me on the first day when I showed up to deliver my work at that first show that my work was underpriced. And that was amazing to me that people thought enough about me to try to elevate me from where I was at. And since then, just the unselfishness of the art community and the willingness to share ideas and inspiration and resources and to promote and support each other. It's just been the highlight for me, every year. I'm in the South Bay, so I don't get to see everyone, but coming to the main reception in Richmond every year and just reconnecting and seeing how people are doing and seeing new and dynamic work and encouraging others and being encouraged by others. That's the magic of the art of the African diaspora, and I will keep coming back forever. Peace.
Hi, I'm Pat Patterson, and I'm a photographer, an artist, and a writer. And I've been involved with the art of the African diaspora since its inception in the late 90s. I first met co-founder Ray Hayward while we were both working at Pac Bell in San Ramon, and we got involved in an art exhibit, which was a lot of fun, and we were first timers at it. And fast forward a little bit, and she contacted me and said, hey, I want to start this project called The Art of Living Black. And it really sounded like a good idea, and it was especially good because it was at a time where we as African American folks couldn't get in galleries or in public settings like we should. And so I'll always be grateful that she and Jan set this wheel in motion. So I exhibited in 1997 here at my house with my son, Omari Patterson, who's also a photographer, and both my sons are photographers, Benjamin as well. But anyway, I showed for the first time, and then I got involved in going to the Richmond Art Center, where we exhibited every year in the big gallery room, and to see all of these artists, just the breadth, the scope of art shown there, the talent was just amazing. It was like it was like a kaleidoscope of color with your photography, your painters, your sculptors, you name it. And what a community we formed, and it was always good to see everybody there each year. And I'll be always grateful for being part of that exhibit, and looking forward to us doing it hopefully in person next year. Thank you.
Greetings, Malik Sanefaru here, just to come and talk to you about the importance of the African diaspora, the art of the African diaspora. I also have to acknowledge the Art of Living Black, which was first created, and the art of African diaspora was developed out of that. This exhibition is extremely important to me in the right that it was Louise Hayward who was just constantly pushing hard to make sure that artists were delivering for this particular exhibition, The Art of Living Black. And after her death, we had a few hiccups in the exhibition, trying to pull things together and trying to do it like how she did it. But it just never really folded around the way that many of us who were native to that understanding. And so we had a few artists who were a part of it that came together and said, we're going to keep this together. And I'm thankful to them on that. So with that, I must say that it is extremely important for many of you young artists to come in and be a part of the art of African diaspora as we push this into the 21st century.
Hi, my name's Paula Lewis, and I'm an avid art supporter. In 1997, my friend photographer Patricia Patterson held an exhibit in her home, and that's where I got the first glimpse of the Art of Living Black, the world where one can experience the works of local Black artists with their creative gifts. This venue gives them the opportunity to exhibit and sell their unique pieces of visual art, sculpture, and photography. I've enjoyed and attended this event every year since then. It's one of my favorite things to do. I've been so faithful about it. I'm so happy to attend these things. But in 2020, the Art of the African Diaspora began. In museum style, over 100 artists displayed their works line by line, row by row, each one being more beautiful than the last. Now, the 2021 virtual tour is online, and their work is just amazing. And what this group has done is they've reimagined themselves for the pandemic times that we're in. And I view their work with just amazement and admiration. And I'm excited. I can't wait until next year. Hopefully, we'll be able to be inside again. I'd like to give kudos to Stephen Bruce and the extraordinary group of artists that work with him on the steering committee. They're the ones who keep this thing going. Thanks so much.
Hello, my name is Derek Norris. My wife Janet and I have been attending the Art of Living Black and the Art of the African Diaspora for over 20 years now, as you could see by the flyer that we showed in the beginning. I think what the shows and the exhibits have meant to us over the years are about Black creativity and excellence. What we've really enjoyed about them have been the opening receptions, the artist talk, the open studios, and the ability to meet the artists and speak with them and get to know them over the years. It's one of those things where we can try to support the artistic community when we can, and we look forward to doing it every year. Really missed it last year when people weren't able to go out to the open studios, and it's still a little slow this year, but we're again looking forward to being able to go out and see the artists again and enjoy being out with this very creative community. So that we would just wanted to say thanks to all the artists, and again, many more years of creativity and excellence. Thanks.
Beautiful. So next we will take a look at some vintage video, rarely seen clips of Ray Hayward and a few other artists talking about being inspired.
I can remember my mother having these books, child craft books. We grew up in New Orleans, and I don't know if they had those books anywhere but in the South, but they were red books, and they were educational books. There was one book that was a long book that had art in it, and I used to remember looking through that book all the time, just looking and turning the pages and just looking and looking at the paintings and just loving to look at the art. By having the Art of Living Black and also shows like the Artist Salute to Black History Month, young kids, children, people of all ages have an opportunity to see artists of African descent, and they may be inspired if they have that talent to pursue something in the arts, or not be discouraged and say, oh, I can draw, which a lot of people say, oh, you know, I have that talent, but they don't think of doing anything with it. And it always touches me when I see the young kids come in from elementary school and how they're looking at the art and they're asking questions. And I did hear a comment from one of the mothers that said after her son saw the show, he went home and he wanted to draw and he wanted to create. And I said, that's what it's all about. That's what I like to see. That's what I like to hear. That's what's touching to me when you see it in their eyes. It's like when you see a kid open up their favorite toy, or they get something for Christmas or something for their birthday that they've been wanting, or you just see it in their eyes, an expression on their face. I can remember also one reception where a father brought his children, and you saw his son was about 5 or 6 years old, running across the gallery, running to his daddy's painting, you know, and just being so proud. And just, so that's art in the family. you know, and here his dad has an opportunity to display, and you never know. His son may be an artist or just be inspired by his dad. I'd say maybe 10%, 5% is perspiration, all the other is inspiration. And because it's, you know, planning the show is just a big inspiration, a big joy. After, when you see the results of the show, you know, it's a big boost. I can remember my friend Jan, the first year we did the show, and we were just in the community gallery, and she said she saw me walking in, and when I walked in and I was looking at all the art and saying, oh, you know, it's up, it's this, it's that, you know, this is going through my head, but I guess she was observing me coming in, and she told me, she said, oh, look at her, she's walking on air. And I remember walking, and I was feeling so good, and she said it was like I was climbing and walking and getting higher and higher as I was like walking in, just, wow, look at this. And that's how I feel every time I see the exhibit, when it's up and when it's done. And it looks so beautiful. It's just, you know, big boost. And when we have the reception, all the people come out, and it's just a good feeling. So, you know, you kind of forget all that you've gone through, and then it just starts again when that January date comes again and said, okay, is all the art going to come in, and blah, blah, blah. And then I'll have a crew of people calling people that haven't shown up yet. So it's kind of, you know, planned out, and it's really, really a joy.
The co-founder of the Art of Living Black and the spirit and force behind everything you see here.
This piece is called Night and Day, and it comes from a series of images that I've been doing the past couple of years. And it kind of started from my being on the phone at work and just doodling and drawing loops, and then filling in the loops with an image. And the images came out as half faces and, you know, strong shoulders. And it's kind of a comment on the diversity and the strength of women. So that's why they have these strong shoulders. And the diversity is the, you know, each race. And the yellow depicts Asian, red Native American, the white, and Latin American. And the blue is for black. You've heard of this phrase, we are people who are darker than blue. And the purple, he was so black, he was purple. Or she was so black. Which is a beautiful thing, because it's a beautiful thing. I mean, I visited Africa in 1975 and saw beautiful, beautiful, beautiful people, oceans of color with the dresses and textiles that they wore, and that was just a life-changing experience. So also last year I was pretty ill, and there was a time when I couldn't hold a brush or a pen. Hands were very stiff. And I started out with something simple, and I was just happy to accomplish this. And I want to get to where I'm, you know, more detailed, like this series. I don't know if you can see that. And where I used to be very, very detailed with pen and ink. And, you know, I'll get back to that. But I had a little dimension with a little oil pastel, just to show a little dimension. And I do this series with just different kinds of things. There's a birds of a feather, so they're birds, and some of them fanfare with fans. But this one was, and I just kind of evolved, because the way I'm feeling today is night and day. Last year was, you know, come out of the darkness and into the light. And, you know, that's how I feel.
And a lot of my pieces are inspired by the elders in my family. I have beautiful photographs, vintage photographs, tintypes, works on glass of various family members that go back several generations. And I have letters and cards and all sorts of memorabilia that I kind of relate to. And to bring that up, I used to call myself a story painter. I really believe everyone has at least one story in them. Part of my work has to do with kind of redefining who you are and getting away from boundaries and people telling you that you should be this way, whether it's a racial, feminist, whatever, just kind of redefining who you are and connecting to your ancestors and your roots. All that is very important to me.
Inspiration does not come and go, that it's with you all the time. Well, I didn't get a chance to hear the person talk about it, but it was similar to what I thought, in the sense that I think I said, I get inspired, but I don't receive it all the time. I mean, I think it's there, but whether I'm receptive to it or not depends on me personally. So I kind of agree with that statement that was made, because I know the way I feel and my emotions, the weather, what I hear, smell, all brings inspiration. But sometimes I've had a long day at work or whatever, and I don't let it in. What got me here, or into doing art or displaying my art, was I was off for a year from work, which I work in the computer industry, very tense and stressful. So that year that I was off, my mind quieted. I didn't have to go to work, didn't have to get up and go to work and deal with all that corporate stuff. And it was the most creative that I've ever been in my life. But then I sat down and I analyzed it. Why? I didn't have a 9 to 5. Nothing blocking that inspiration from entering me and allowing me to move on it.
Living in America and in the world, survival doesn't really come easy. Survival and fulfillment and thriving doesn't come easy. And, you know, as a young girl, the world was, and still is, but really as a young girl, the world was very dangerous. And I spent a lot of time in my head devising my escape routes, whatever they may be. You know, they could be figments of my imagination, but my world was so scary that I, you know, really felt like I needed to figure out how I was going to get out of the room or figure out how I was going to get to school. And I think that's really the foundation of my creativity. I remember going to school, rarely did I walk down the street. I would go in my backyard and I'd climb on the fence and I'd walk along the fence, you know, and I'd find ways to, you know, and all of that I feel is you know, is a part of creativity. You know, the sad thing about it is it's derived from trauma, really. But I think that I'd have to say that those would be my first memories of being inspired to be creative.
That in terms of the work that I do, a number of the pieces are expressions of empathy for what I see that has gone wrong in culture or in society. We have to begin to feel for one another. You know, I remember one of the things that hit me very powerfully when I was a young person. I mean, maybe like 13 or so, and at home and watching television, and whatever the show was, the statement was made, I cried because I had no shoes, and then I saw a man who had no feet. And I never forgot that, you know. And you have to begin to look at and feel for people in our society who are lost, who are in pain, who are addicted, who are afraid. Because there's a lot of that out there.
As a kid, I always liked to draw and color, and my cousins would ask me when they were trying to draw people or draw this or draw that, they'd say, Ray, could you draw this bow for me or draw this or whatever? And it just seemed like something, it was fun to do and I liked to do, and it made me feel good to do it.
Wow. Amazing. So and so much from the heart. Do you see how art really brings out the emotions and the heartfelt thoughts from so many? So that was great. Next, we're going to share a montage of program covers over the years, illustrating the diversity of art that was exhibited. And I don't know about you, but we always, if you had been to the exhibits, you carried around that program, and it was your roadmap to seeing all of the art. So we'll take a look at that. Excellent, excellent. Great flashbacks. So now we're going to move on to the annual award winners, which is always an exciting part of the reception festivities. Excuse me. On behalf of the Art of the African Diaspora, I'm very pleased to announce, or actually re-announce, the 3 winners of the Artistic Achievement Award. They were announced last year, and due to the pandemic, they will carry their award status in 2021. and they will be honored at our in-person event in 2022. Can't wait. So our first awardee is Tiffany Conway. And by the way, if there are any questions, we're going to have each one speak. And if there are any questions of the artist, please put your questions in the chat box. And my partner, Virginia Jourdain, will collect those and we'll read them off after all three have finished. Tiffany Conway. Her visual paintings are the break of generational curses and the door to beautiful beginnings. Overcoming stereotypes and an absentee mother, art has provided Tiffany the tools to communicate in a way that she was not able to do so before. Growing her creativity from life experiences, art has allowed Tiffany to retreat, restore, and express all that she has learned from moving through the world as a Black woman. Congratulations, Tiffany. And I'll do I know everybody else is muted. I'll do the applause for us all. And Tiffany, if you could unmute yourself and say a few words.
Thank you. So yeah, my name is Tiffany Conway. I was born in Southern California and raised in the Bay. And, you know, I went to college, but I would say most of my work, or the work that I've, you know, created in the last 6 years, are, you know, from continuing to teach myself. You know, this last year, you know, winning my Artistic Achievement Award it's been a whirlwind in a really great way. I feel like I'm, you know, in the midst of an artist community that I didn't have before. And I've been exhibiting more so in the last year than I have, you know, my entire art career. You know, in this last year, I've had some firsts. One of the firsts I've had was the opportunity to do my, you know, my first, you know, public group art exhibition, and that would be with Rhythmics, excuse me, a little tongue-tied. And it was a public art campaign to rename Jackson Park in Alameda. Maybe we can show a picture later. So yeah, you know, in terms of my art, I tend to use my art as a dialogue with spirit and with my inner self, and art has been a facilitator for my healing. I would say that, you know, sometimes I don't always know what's going to come up, and things come up in terms of understanding the piece comes up later. Sometimes I have to sit with work for a while. But I think I work best, you know, when I work from a place of stillness and, you know, work through with intuition. So I can talk about one of the pieces, if that's okay.
Yeah, you have about 30 seconds if you don't mind, just so we can move along, but we'd love to hear it. Yes.
Sure. So the last painting there, it's called Heal Thy Damn Self. That was created in 2019. And, you know, I use other people or other figures as a form of a self-portrait. I don't always like to put myself in the work. But essentially the figure is in need of healing. You know, that basically the person that is embracing her is herself. It's the inner version of herself that is projected outward. And I, you know, through this work, I didn't necessarily always know what I'm creating at the time, but it, you know, with time and appreciation, I learned what I was going through and the lessons I learned from creating that piece.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much. And congratulations.
Thank you.
Next, we'll have Val Kaye. If you could, don't come forward yet, but let me read a little of your bio or your statement. Being exposed early to art and the art world is how Val Kaye started. She began by studying music, then dance and painting. Along with those endeavors, there was a camera. It was present from high school on. Ever present, photography slowly became her main vehicle of expression. It was present from high school on. Oops, I'm sorry. Creating and capturing moments, preserving and documenting the Black experience is her artistic vision. All facts of her work present a world of images, a world where she continues to create, to share, and to grow. Congratulations, Val. And I'll give you the applaud for the entire community. Visitors.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you. I'm really very grateful to be here. I'd only participated in the Art of Living Black or the Art of the African Diaspora for the second year I was given this award. So I'm still kind of blown away. So far, I love the exhibit. It's a very warm place to be for an artist, to be among other artists, for me, other Black artists, and to be recognized in such a prestigious venue. So thank you very much, Richmond Art Center and Rhythmics, for giving me this honor. So this year, the photo that you guys have been seeing all over the place is the second line. The second line comes out of a Southern tradition in New Orleans, where they honor the dead with a jazz band. Certain individuals in the community are honored by the church and their family. They hire a band. And they form a procession from the deceased home or the home of their family or the church to the burial ground. And those bands are not that big. They're mostly brass instruments being played and drums. Out here in California, step up in history, historically, it's kind of taken out of context. We have two bands here that carry this tradition, and one is the Twilight Band, which you see photographed in the three images, the three top images that I presented this year. I have a lot of different focuses. I don't concentrate on just one. Photography for me is just life. And fortunately, I'm in the community as an artist, and I participate in a lot of different types of activities, not just photography. So I have all of this work that sort of travels with me. I keep my camera with me all the time. And now that we have phones, the phone. So anyway, so moving on, the next image is a mural that I photographed in San Francisco. I started photographing murals and doing street art around 2009. And at the time I was working in the Mission District, which is rich with a lot of mural work. So I would go on, instead of going to lunch and eating, I would go out and do little short photo walks around in the area. So this photo came out of one of my photo walks. And in particular, I have a lot of these types of photos of murals that were created out of all of the murders that were committed, all of the murders from the police and various individuals, Black individuals that perished in those situations. And Mario Woods was one of them.
Thank you.
And the last two, I'm probably running out of time at this point.
You have about 30 seconds if you don't.
Okay. The last two are two other focuses that I go into. One is performance art and the other is portraits. So that's those two. This one was taken at one of the many events that we have in the Bay Area, Black events, the Life is Living Festival, the saxophonist. And then the last one is an example of some of my portrait work, the twins. And this was taken right after Black Panther was released. And these two little friends of mine wanted to dress up in costume and do something off of that. So that's where the costuming and the face paint. So again, I'm very, very honored to be part of this whole happening. I prefer to call this a happening instead of just an exhibit, because it includes so much. You know, it's our art being featured, and it's also a community event that lasts for weeks couple of months. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Val. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, Fan. I'm sorry, I called you Val before. Fan, thank you so much. And I'm gonna do the applaud. Everybody, we can all do a visual, you know, to say how much we appreciate your work. And look forward to seeing all three of you at next year's live exhibit. So I wanna check in with Virginia Jordan to see if we had any questions in the chat area. Virginia, did you get any?
No, I don't see any questions in here. Just congratulations and beautiful work, but no questions yet.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. Did I skip Fan? I'm sorry. Oops, I have to check because someone just asked me. So I had Tiffany, I did Val Kaye. Now we're talking Fan Lee Warren. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Let me read your artist statement first. I am so sorry. Excuse
That's okay.
me, everybody. Fan Lee Warren lives, works, and teaches drawing, painting, and art history at Laney Community College in Oakland. She was born in Birmingham, Alabama, and raised in Chicago. Her work depicts a mixture of popular and historical perceptions of Black people in the Americas. She arranges her figures within layered fragments of memories and events surrounded by the transformative ancient spiral on the stressed paper. So congratulations, Fan, and you can go right ahead with your comments.
Thank you very much. Again, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm going to go over a little bit of what you said. Just again, my work is about how the past affects the present and the future of Black people in the Americas. Also, I have this great need to pay homage to historical memories and my elders' wisdom. Now, there's two works on paper in this exhibit are from my legacy series. I work in series. And the print, the larger piece, which is called Shifting Messages. This is from my newer series. I want to talk a little bit about the images because I think it'll make it easy because they're probably a little bit more complicated. So the depiction of children represents both the modern and contemporary periods in the work, and the background often represents the historical past. The spiral, as you said, it represents the spirit of the time and the cycle of life. I really love this quote that says, each loop of the spiral brings one back to the same place in a timeless movement and a flow. To convey the history and its impact upon the present society, that's when I stress the paper surface. And I often use fire and earth and herbs. And basically, I'm trying to emulate an old document. And then I draw the images, and sometimes I print on those pieces of paper, and of course, paint. And I use both traditional and non-traditional materials. And then what I try to do with my images is that I often try to find antique frames or some sort of colonial frames to put them in. I think that's, oh, I got way more images than I thought. And I have different images, but it's all good. That's what I'm going to say. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
I was just
Okay.
making sure.
Okay.
I jumped the gun a little earlier. So.
Yes. Yeah. And I seem to have the images that I had from Remix and not the ones that I have for the Richmond Art Center, but it still gives you an idea what they are.
Sure. Well, very good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Again, I'll do the visual. You can actually hear my class.
Yes. Thank you.
We will see all three of you, as I was saying earlier, next year live at the live event. So, okay, with that, and I have to apologize. I got names mixed up there earlier. So, and then also asked for questions ahead of time. But now we know that they're. Well, let's just check. Let me check with Virginia. Any questions? No, we're okay.
Wait, there is a question from Ellen Peachman. Does FAN teach in a setting that is open to the public without actually being enrolled at Laney?
Not at this time. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But not at this time.
Okay.
And the same person, Ellen, says, I wonder if the other artists teach in settings.
You can unmute yourselves, artists, and of the three artists. Is that Val trying to? Val, can you unmute your? Who's? Let's see. Who's?
I'm sorry. What was the question?
Do any of you also teach?
No.
I do not teach.
No. I've never taught art.
Okay. All right.
Ellen says, I am guessing that many of us would love to be able to learn from many of the contributors to the art of the African diaspora.
And I would throw in, and maybe Stephen Bruce wants to mention, I from time to time there have been offerings.
So the Richmond Art Center is about to launch a series of 3 free workshops taught by Art of the African Diaspora artists.
Thank you. Okay.
Anthony Smalls has a question. Are you having any individual shows this year?
Who is that directed to?
I believe it is directed to any of the artists.
Okay.
Everyone.
So any of you go ahead and unmute yourselves and.
I am. I will have my solo show April 26th. It's coming up soon. So if you want more information, you can always visit my website. There's information on the Richmond Art Center website, and you can also follow me on Instagram at Project Get Free. But I'll have more information on my show fairly soon.
Great, thank you.
Okay, another question from Ellen. Wants to know whether there are any aspects of the show that will be available to be viewed once the rack is opened.
Any other aspects of the show that will be available
to be viewed once the rack is opened?
Let me just unmute myself and just say,
speaking as one person, I'm sure I'm not alone. We all could learn so much from all of you, and I'm just wondering if any aspects of this remarkable show are going to be available live. We are going to get out of this, you guys. We really are. I hate to think that we've missed this art permanently for the whole year. And so I'm just wondering if the Art Center is, and the Art of the Diaspora are working together to see to it that we really can experience the art in real life sometime during the course of the year. That's my question, and I'll get back on mute. Thank you.
Pat, if I could answer that.
Please, yes.
The Richmond Art Center will be announcing their opening later, I think this month. But a lot of these questions we could probably answer in at the end. And also, if you go to the site, I know there's satellite shows that are available, and all the information is available on the Richmond Art Center website, where you can go to some live in-person shows that will be happening all the way through May. Okay.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Maureen would like to know, what about the satellite exhibitions? Isn't that a way to see everyone's art too?
Absolutely. Individual. And some are doing live and some are doing totally virtual. I'm just checking any other here.
So Karen's art is currently at Creative Framing and Gallery, 1200 Park Boulevard in Oakland until March 27th.
And so what we'll do in a minute, we're going to go through the resource page and you'll see where you can click and find out all the details of the individual artists' events, okay? So again, congratulations to, I'm going to move on to the next segment, but congratulations to all of the artists, the three winners. And next we're going to share a few receptions from the past, take you back to memory lane. So Fawn, take it away. Excellent, I should say, excellent. So we're going to show next some recent interviews from 2019, where we hear from some of the current artists and their insights about exhibitions.
Come on down to Richmond. Come on down, see our stuff.
Hello, my name is Stephen Bruce. I am the spokesman for the steering committee for the 2019 Art of Living Black. I'm a working artist here in the city of Richmond. I work with acid patinas on copper. Art of Living Black was started in 1997. The original founder was Jan Hart Shires, and in the second show, as they started to develop it, Louise Hayward came on, and together they put the show forward. Jan actually passed away before the second show, and at that point, Louise took the show on and put it on until 2007. At 2008, she passed away just prior to the show, and her vision was that for an artist of African descent to have the opportunity to show wasn't so accessible, at least in her eyes at the time. And so this show gives artists the opportunity to show, again, in a professional setting, and see what their work looks like, that they're worthy of an exhibit. And maybe they take that energy and they go somewhere else and beyond the Art of Living Black. And so from 2008 on, Stephen Hawkins, Ray's husband, and Henry Shires, Jan's husband, kept the show going. And up until this year, 2019. This was the first year it's been put on by the steering committee and steering committee of artists who participate in the show and have about 136 years of experience of participating in Art of Living Black.
The Art of Living Black is an organization of different people who self-identify with African American descent. And they may come from all over the place, but basically it involves people, artists who live in the greater San Francisco Bay Area. We have a series of events that come together. Initially, the kickoff is at the Richmond Art Center, which has hosted the presentation for 23 years. The original first exhibit started in 1997, and we did at some point add on open studios, and the open studios were also connected with the Richmond Art Center, but eventually kind of peeled off to different sites around the San Francisco Bay Area. So there are different entities that accept the responsibility of showing various artworks, various types of artwork, various media in these different locations.
The Art of Living Black shows you the magnitude of African American artists that have important and interesting work. This year I was given the opportunity to participate in a satellite and open studio, in that more people saw my artwork than my friends and relatives and people at the Richmond Art Center. I actually sold a piece of art, so now I can say that I have a collector.
Well, one of the unique things about it is that since it's non-juried, it incorporates artists that are beginners and professional as well. And since it's non-juried, we also have a juror that comes and gives awards to 3 artists every year, and those 3 artists get to be featured in the following year with multiple artworks.
The Art of Living Black is definitely important for artists, significantly for visibility's sake. I think it's powerful to know that, Black artists have a space to be visible in terms of showing their craft, and knowing that each and everyone's craft comes in many levels, mediums, dynamics. We can see how many messages we can portray from their art, or even just appreciate their art in terms of what they do, and appreciate their individuality and their expression. So it's very important to have space to create, co-create, and be visible in it.
It's an annual party for me. I look forward to it because I only see many of these people once a year, and I typically start to work on the piece that I want to present 6 or 7 months in advance. I'm even thinking about ideas for next year now, and so it's the culmination of my work up to the event, but seeing everybody is just a big party, and it's a great way to sort of, put a bow around this work that I've been thinking about, and after the presentation, then I can hang out and see some of my friends.
I was standing next to my piece, and about 6 young women came up to me, and I was actually, they felt I was in their way of being able to see the piece. And so this young woman said, well, can you move out of the way because we want to take a picture. And Tomei was standing next to me. In fact, Tomei, who is another artist, we were both talking. And so Tomei said, and we did move, and then Tomei said, wait a minute. Do you know who the artist of this piece is? And she asked the young woman. They said, no. Do you even know her name? They said, no. Well, you just asked her to move away from her piece. And it was funny that I was being asked to move away from something that I created so that they could take a picture of it. But it also affirmed me that the piece that I created was important to them, that they wanted to take a picture of it in front of it. They wanted themselves as a part of my work. And so I think that I've reached my goal when I can experience people that I created my art for, identifying with it so much so that they want to take a picture with it and they want to be a part of it.
I think the Art of Living Black is important because it is an opportunity for artists to show their work. A lot of new artists maybe have never shown their work to anyone but family. The Art of Living Black is a chance to show your work to a greater audience and to see the work of other artists. Some of the people in this show are so talented, but they don't know it because they've never been told. They've never seen their work, in this kind of venue. And a lot of people, like myself, think that you have to be educated in art, but you really don't. Some of the best artists of all types don't have official art education, music education, that kind of thing. So the Art of Living Black is a platform for lots of different kinds of artists. I came to this show many years before I actually participated. And when I picked up my camera and started photographing again, I realized from the beginning that this was the first show I wanted to be in. And that was really great. It's great to be part of the Art of Living Black.
Come on down to Richmond. Come on down, see our stuff.
Such rich stories. Thank you all who participated in that set of interviews. Very deep, rich stories. So right now we want to share a message from Charles Kim, representing our new partners at Macy's Union Square, San Francisco.
I'm Charles Kim, store manager here at Union Square Macy's. We're really just so excited and proud that we were able to host you as well as the Art of the African Diaspora here at Union Square Macy's. My team, Constance, Ren, we're just so proud that we were able to host your incredible organization to showcase Black brilliance in our celebration of Black History Month during February. As a total company, we are just so, we're committed, we're enlightened, we want to be at the forefront of leading our communities through change to achieve equality and equity, and social justice. And we just thank you for giving us that opportunity. I know, to a customer, they were just so blown away by the work that you all produced and were able to showcase. And they felt so good that Macy's really stands for supporting our communities and Black History Month and Black Brilliance. This is something that I hope that we can continue in the long future. I hope this was like a first annual, and this is something that we can make bigger and bigger every year to give voice and to give life to incredible artists out there, and to really just celebrate our Black communities and our company Macy's. So all the best to all of you. Thank you so much for your time and efforts, and we look forward to seeing you again next year. Happy 2021 and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Charles Kim. Now, I want to just say that I want to think about, if we could think about the team partners that have worked so hard to get us to where we are today. So all that you've seen today and all that's planned for this year's program could not have been possible without some great teamwork from several organizations. So we have some special words and live words from our collaborators this year. And first we'll have Jennifer Radekovich talk to us. Jennifer?
Thank you, Pat. Yeah, my name is Jennifer Radekovich. I'm the Associate Director at Rhythmics Cultural Works. And this has been such a lovely reception. And we've been really thrilled this year to be able to be an event partner with Art of the African Diaspora and Richmond Art Center to host this reception. And in February, we hosted the first satellite exhibit for Art of the African Diaspora, which was called Demystifying the Journey. We also partnered earlier in the fall with the 6 artists who exhibit with Art of the African Diaspora to create this lovely art installation you see behind me that Tiffany referenced in Alameda's former Jackson Park, which is now renamed Chochenyo Park. And you can find both of these events on Rhythmic's website. And we have the reception videos there as well that you can see. And this exhibit in Chochenyo Park is going to be up through the end of April, so you can still see that live. And I just want to thank all of the artists and Art of the African Diaspora Steering Committee and Richmond Art Center for having us come in as event partners to help host this event for everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jennifer. Next, we'll have Amy Spencer, who's from Richmond Art Center. Amy?
Hi, I'm Amy. I work at Richmond Art Center. I just want to make a quick announcement that we don't actually have a reopening date yet, but we are moving towards that, and hopefully we'll be able to make an announcement sometime this spring. So sign up for our newsletter if you are wanting to come back to Richmond Art Center. You'll get the news first there. So I've worked at Richmond Art Center for 3 years, and it's been an amazing experience learning about and from the artists in Art of the African Diaspora. Richmond Art Center is very honored to be part of this happening, to use Val Kaye's words. We're very committed to the partnership that we have with Art of the African Diaspora, and we're just so excited to start working with the steering committee to start planning activities for the 25th anniversary to be held in person at the Richmond Art Center. So just thank you, everyone, especially to all the artists who share your work so generously, and cheers to many more years.
I love it. Cheers to many more years. I love that. So next we have Stephen Bruce, who is the chair of the Art of the African Diaspora. Stephen. Can you unmute?
I had to unmute myself. Hello, everybody. I want to take a minute to thank the steering committee. The steering committee, we have an auxiliary committee. They've been meeting every week since October. And so I really want to acknowledge them because the whole program, if there's more to it other than the reception itself. There's events going on, and so the steering committee has done an amazing job, and I just want to thank them for their. I also want to thank Macy's, our new partner. This year hosted a satellite exhibit, and are looking to do more and beyond the Bay Area. I want to recognize Rhythmix. Rhythmix has been phenomenal, and I asked them, could we have some help with this? And they jumped right in with 2 feet. They might have jumped in deeper than they thought. And in particular, I really want to acknowledge Jennifer and Fawn for the work that they've done, helping us with this program, guiding us. And we wouldn't have had the program without them. So I really want to acknowledge them and let them know that I really appreciate all the work that they put in. And then I won't say lastly, I also want to acknowledge Patricia Patterson, who embraced this role as moderator. And it's a lot of details and it's a lot of work. And so Patricia, thank you for your effort. And then last but not least, the Richmond Art Center. Richmond Art Center has been a partner with Art Living Black, Art of the African Diaspora for 25 years. And the partnership has grown tighter in the last 3 years. And I'd be wrong if I didn't say that a good portion of that is due to Amy Spencer and the way that she supports the steering committee, supports the program, and is just an advocate for us. And so thank you, Richmond Art Center. Thank you, Amy. And thank you all for coming and enjoying the show. I'm gonna turn it back over to Pat.
Thank you, Stephen. So our next, we're going to segue into some questions. And let's see, we've got about time for 2. Let's see, I've collected 2 that I'll share. So this one is from Carolyn. How do I find out about dates of the various events like open studios and artist talks? So that's one that's kind of repeated itself throughout the afternoon. So you can find out those dates, open studios, artist talks, and things like that by going to our website, aotad.org. You can also go to the Richmond Art Center website. And the thing you do is once you're on there, you click on 2021 exhibit. And there you'll find just a ton of information. So that's the easy one. And we're going to put the link, if we haven't already, on the chat line. But it will list all of the information you need, as well as links to the 130 plus artists. So if you get a chance, take a look, and you'll have to, get a snack and a sandwich and go through, have a good time doing an art tour there. So the second question is from Sarah. Is the art for sale? And if so, how do I find out about the prices? Very important question, right? And the answer is, in most cases. And the way you find out is, again, going through the link to the site, and you will see, as you go through the individual artists' links, they will specify whether or not art is for sale. And sometimes you'll see NFS, not for sale, but many are selling their art. So yes, yes, and yes. And let's see, I think what we'll do is, like we had said before, we'll send the rest of you your answers to your questions through email, okay? And thanks so much for that, for your interest. So now we're going to take a moment to thank the people who worked so hard to put the program together. And then we'll also see some informational slides that, as I said, you might want to take a photo of. They're about 5 slides in. So I'm going to have you just review these, just like if you were at the movies. You know how they go by real fast? No, we're not going to do them that fast, but I'll let you view them. So this is our informational piece about the next Saturday's Artist Talk, Art in the Time of Pandemic. It's on the 27th, 3 to 4:30 Pacific time. So this online conversation explores how artists have coped during the pandemic. How and where did they show their work? How were they creative? How did the pandemic affect their mental well-being? These are just a few of the topics that will be discussed. And the participating artists include Raymond L. Haywood, Letitia Holly, Jean Dominique, Ashara Ikundayo, Akili Simba, Wanda Sabir, and Idris Hassan. Please RSVP at the richmondartcenter.org website to receive the Zoom link. Can you go back 1 minute, Fong? So if you haven't, I should have cued you to take a shot of that if you want, but if you have a chance, do that. Okay, Fong, all set. And then here is our contact information. So the website is the abbreviation or the acronym for Art of the African Diaspora. So aotad.org, and you may email us at aotadexhibition@gmail.com. And also you can like us on our Facebook page, which is the same, it's not the same here as here, but Art by the name, Art of the African Diaspora. Okay. So that information ought to also be in the link, I'm sorry, the chat as well. So last, we're going to shift to the remaining 2021 Art of the African Diaspora images. Some beautiful artwork done by our artists. So please remain and enjoy, and thank you so much for joining us. Do remember that the art is for sale, and support our artists by visiting their specific pages. And so this rounds out our program today. And I'd like to thank you all from near and far for joining us and supporting the Art of the African Diaspora. Thank you, and see you next year in person.